Well, good stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, we're just going to open it right up to questions. We've got about 15 members of the media on the Zoom here. And so our first question is going to come from Robert Allen of Triple Play Sports. Go ahead, Robert. All right, Robert, go ahead, try again.
Logan, give me an idea here of how you feel the Cowboy back will be used this year with all the talent, with Chuba and the receiver talent. You see the role being more blocking or pass catching, versatility? How do you look at the Cowboy back this season?
This year specifically, I look at it as a very versatile role. You're going to see Cowboy backs all over the field, lined up in line, blocking, running routes from in line, wing, blocking, running routes, in the backfield, blocking, pass protection, run blocking, all of it, even split out and flex, running routes, catching balls, even lined up outside every now and then, both blocking in the perimeter and running routes. So we got a lot of guys. There'll be 3 or 4 of us in and out of rotation in Cowboy back. Sometimes there might be 2, 3, 4 of us even on the field at a time, but I don't think you're going to miss very many guys out there. Jelani Woods, myself, Metcalf, Braden Cassidy. I think those guys are going to get a lot of reps out there and a lot of use.
Are you guys, you top 3, pretty interchangeable, you think?
I think for the most part, yes. I think Jelani and I do a lot of the same stuff. I think Dayton really makes a lot of his money at a more of a fullback position, but when he needs to, he can step up and run the tight end and wing sets as well. And then all of us are interchangeable out at the flex stuff, running routes, blocking out the perimeter, all of that.
Real quickly, have you given Dayton a hard time about getting engaged?
No, I'm happy for him, man. Shout out to Dayton and Taylor. My man did the thing. He asked his woman to marry him. She said yes, so I'm happy for him. I got to be there and see it all. A bunch of us watched from up top of the stadium when he did it. It's a great thing for him. So happy for him.
Thanks.
Our next question comes from Sudeep Tuma from the O'Colly. Go ahead, Sudeep.
Yeah, hi, Logan. I was just wondering, there's a lot of meticulous planning that goes into a football season. How would you assess how the coaching staff and how the rest of the team has sort of, I guess, balanced, between dealing with the pandemic and this football season and how they've been able to deal around it?
Yeah, so, with the pandemic and everything that happened dating all the way back to March, it's been kind of unprecedented. Lots of planning over Zoom, like we're doing this press conference right now. So lots of game planning for Zoom meetings and whatnot. Still following all the NCAA regulations for meeting times, even though those had to change as we're kind of going along with it. So a lot of flexibility on the part of the coaching staff, taking it in hand as they can. And then they've done a great job of really figuring out what this team is good at. And so that's what we're going to do, the things we're good at. And, we've been practicing that for 3 or 4 weeks now. And so that's what we're going to run. We're going to have to make teams adjust to us this year, I feel like, because we're going to do what we do and we're not going to change from that. We're going to be really good at it.
It's no secret that 2020 has been not a great year for everybody. How much different would you guys say your outlook on the year would be if you guys, sort of met your expectations this year and then were a really good team and really successful?
What do you mean our outlook on the year if we meet our expectations?
Just from a personal standpoint, you being obviously dealing with the entire pandemic and all the hardships of the off season and stuff like that, how would your perception of this year as a whole be different if you guys were to, say, win a Big 12 championship?
The good thing about football is that it's football, Once we're in between these 2 white stripes, 4, I guess you want to count the end zone stripes, Once we're in between that, it's football. So thankfully, we're to a point now. We haven't been for months, but we're to a point now where we're pretty much back to football here, and that's normal for us. So it'll be memorable, that's for certain. Life outside of football is different for everybody, so everybody's going to remember that, of course, for years and years to come. But I think that we will feel accomplished the same regardless. It might be even sweeter knowing that we had to deal with all the unknowns that's come throughout this pandemic. But football is still football, thankfully, so we've been able to focus on that and attack that the same way we would if things were normal.
Thanks, Logan.
Our next question comes from Scott Wright from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Logan, how have you gotten to know Casey Dunn differently in the role that he's in now as compared to what he was when he was just a receivers coach?
Yeah, so Casey Dunn, the receivers coach, I didn't hear from him too much, you know. I would hear from him if we were running routes the wrong way or something like that, or our spacing out on the field wasn't right. But it was very briefly every now and then. But now Coach Dunn, the OC, oversees the whole offense. Obviously, that's his job. So he's in charge of everybody. He's watching everything. He used to just mainly watch his receivers, and that was it. But now his eyes are all over the field. So he's coaching all the positions when he needs to, you know. If things aren't the way he likes them run, he's going to let you know. And that's how it should be. But definitely have built a relationship up with him more, whether it's a congratulations for a good block because he pays more attention to that now, or it's a chewing out to get your job done better because that's what's expected here.
Does he have the type of personality that relates well to players? It seems that way from the outside, but what's it like from the inside?
Yeah, of course. I think OSU does a great job of hiring coaches that are relatable to their players in any facet. So he falls right along with everybody else here.
Thanks, Logan.
Our next question comes from Frank Bonner of the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Logan, I'm sure you can remember what it was like coming out of high school and joining the staff and being a first-year collegiate player. With the pandemic, how do you think that has affected this year's freshman's experience of the newness of just coming and being on a college team?
Well, thankfully, they haven't had to adjust to the way things were before this all happened. So they've came in and they've seen how we're handling things now, which is insane. I mean, all the adjustments we've made as we've gone along over the summer and whatnot. So they've had to deal with that. But I think they're just finding out, you know, this is a business world here. It's not just a leisure time. You got to be serious about your sport and serious about your craft. And I think they're finding that out maybe at an escalated pace compared to what I had to back then. But I mean, we're all kind of figuring things out, whether it's upperclassmen or the guys coming in now. So,
has the social distancing part of it made it more difficult to create that camaraderie with them in a usual fall camp?
Yeah, a little bit so, especially over the summer. We didn't see, I know here specifically, the offensive guys didn't see a lot of the defensive guys because of our workout schedules and stuff. And then the locker room time, the guys aren't in the locker room playing around a whole lot during the summer and whatnot. So there were a lot of guys that when we started camp, I really hadn't seen before. I'd kind of seen, maybe around the hallways upstairs every now and then or on social media when they committed. But there were a lot of guys I've had to learn their names during camp on the fly and kind of build up relationships. And they've got to know all of us upperclassmen the same as well.
Appreciate it, Logan.
All right, our last two questions are going to come from Joseph Fazio of the Ocala and then Jacob Unruh of the Oklahoman. Joseph, you go ahead and go first.
Hey, Logan, just going back to a previous question about how everything structurally has changed with all the Zoom stuff. How do you think players have been receptive of it, especially the young guys coming in?
You like doing all of the conferences on Zoom or the meetings on Zoom back in the summer? Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, everything that's basically what's been different from last year has had to change, and how do you think people have adapted to the change?
I think guys have had to be even more dedicated since this happened. I know in the summer, the meetings we'd have on Zoom, sometimes you're in your bed, on the laptop, on your Zoom meeting with your coaches, and in that comfortable of a setting for you personally, you got to really lock in mentally and focus to try to pay attention. Because when you're in a meeting room at the facility, you're not distracted by anything else. It's football, that's what you're there for. But when you're in your home setting, there's a lot of other distractions going on. So you have to really, really dedicate your mental focus to trying to learn football. And then for these young guys, I know they're 4 or 5 years younger than me, some of them. Maybe that's more to their liking. They spend a lot of time on technology and stuff. I didn't even know Zoom was a thing until this pandemic started, honestly. So I think it's been different. Guys, you gotta key in even more. It's a lot more mental focus to do this all over Zoom. But thankfully, now that we're back into a structured schedule here at OSU, things are back to normal. We're meeting in person with our coaches, even though we're all spaced out. Meeting rooms aren't quite the same, but we're as close as we can get.
And going with this season, there's only going to be 25% capacity in the stadium. There's going to be no tailgating. How much do you think that's going to affect, game day atmosphere for the players who aren't going to hear fans cheering as loud because there aren't going to be as many of them?
I think it's different for each person. I know for me personally, you can feel the crowd energy, and that's always cool. But for the most part, I don't really focus on that or hear that. I'm more focused on what's happening when I'm on the field. So I know for me personally, as long as my mom's going to be at the game and my sister's going to be at the game and I get the tickets for them, I'm going to be perfectly fine knowing that she's there watching me. But for other guys, some guys really feed off the crowd. If that's what you need, you're going to have to find a new way to get your juice going without such a big crowd being there. So it's not going to be the same. Nothing's the same right now. We're having to deal with that and figure it out. But when it comes down to it, football is football. That feels the same size, and I know our guys here are ready to play.
All right, thanks, Logan.
All right, our final question comes from Jacob Unruh of the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, Logan, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. Hey, I'm kind of curious. You brought up seeing recruits here and there last year on campus. Obviously, they can't be on campus this year and stuff. Do you feel like it's more important to have them recruits that are already committed recruit more themselves than just the coaches trying to do Zoom calls and stuff?
I don't even have any idea on that. I walked on here, so I don't even know what the whole recruiting process really looks like and all of that. So that's a really tough question for me to answer. I mean, I guess so. I guess coaches that have guys committed are going to try to get them to talk to other guys who aren't committed and stuff. I know that happens. That happens regardless, anyways. Guys get other guys to commit and they build friendships before they get here. So I'm sure that some of that's going on. It is weird for these recruits. I know they don't get to take their visits like normal, and they got to find new ways to really learn about an organization and the school and the campus. And I'm glad that I don't have to do it that way. It was tough enough finding a place that I felt comfortable enough to walk on at. So I'm God bless to those guys. I hope they can figure it all out, especially with all the new rules they've passed of extended eligibility for everybody. I don't know where things are going to go right now. NCAA's got a lot they're going to have to deal with in the near future.
Have you thought much of that extended eligibility?
Oh, I'm thankful for it. At the very least, that's more grad school for me. So, I mean, I'm excited regardless. We'll see what happens. I hope it doesn't create too much of a mess. Like I said, I don't know how the NCAA is going to handle new freshman class coming in and scholarships and extension like this. I mean, it's all unprecedented. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. We've never tried anything like this. So I'm glad I'm not in that chair to make those decisions for this, but good luck to whoever is.
Awesome. Thanks, Logan.
Logan, again, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us here for a little bit. We really do appreciate you.
Not a problem. Thank you, guys.
Rye, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you. We have got about 15 members of the media here on the call with us. And so we'll just kind of open it up to questions. Our first question is going to come from Scott Wright from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Scott.
Rye, how has the competition been across the offensive line, especially knowing that there are some jobs to be won out there?
Competition's high. Everybody's wanting to step up and prove themselves and prove that they can take that spot that's opened up, and just whoever it is and someone's going to step up and someone's going to take it, and we're going to be ready to go.
And being a walk-on yourself, what was it like seeing one of your line mates get a scholarship the other day with Jake?
Man, that's awesome. My whole time being here, the greatest thing was for me to be able to call home and tell my mom she didn't have to worry about me paying for college and stuff. And so I'm sure as soon as he found out, he probably thought of his mom too, and couldn't wait to get to call them. And it's just like such an awesome moment because he worked hard, he deserved it, and I'm happy for him.
Thanks, Rye.
That's such great stuff. Our next question comes from Robert Allen of Triple Play Sports Radio. Go ahead, Robert.
All right, Rye, I'm not trying to bring the mood down or anything, but, Dylan opted out of playing again way back in the summer. And I think you, as well as a lot of us, know the kind of pain he went through and the injuries. Talk a little bit about the sacrifices that offensive linemen make at this level. I mean, it's a pretty physical world for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's a physical world for anybody. We all know what we're risking, but as an offensive lineman, you're getting pounded on every play, and if you don't, then you didn't do your job right. So we kind of know the sacrifices that we're putting our bodies through and everything, and it might be just a little bit more, but I mean, it's just something that we've grown up doing and we've learned to live with.
Along those lines, give me an indication of what the competition's been like with this defensive line this year, because there's a lot of talk that they've really improved.
Yeah, the defensive line's gotten really good. They're going to be great. I can't wait to see them go against opposing offensive line. Ready for them to get a taste of our D line and everything.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Our next question comes from Jason Elmquist of the Stillwater News Press. Go ahead, Jason.
Thanks for taking your time, Rye. Obviously, the last couple of years, you've gotten the opportunity to get some starts, get some minutes due to injury. How do you feel that has helped prepare you going into this year, knowing that from game one, you are the guy there at center?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I've worked for the whole time I've been here. I didn't come here to try to be a second string or anything. So, I mean, just me getting some of those starts and me being able to get in the game and get the feel of the speed of the game and everything is going to help me so much.
How do you feel that your role as kind of the guy calling out any transitions along that offensive line will be impactful this year because of that experience?
Yeah, I mean, as a center, you got to be experienced and you got to know like all the calls and everything. And so that kind of helps me help all the other guys out and make all the calls so that we're all on the same page.
Thanks.
Sir.
Our next question comes from Jared Alatorre from the O'Colley. Go ahead, Jared.
Hey, Rye, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. What's the transition personally been like for you for Casey Dunn moving as a longtime receivers coach to now offensive coordinator? Would you say you're closer to him? What's the transition been like personally for you?
Personally for me, I mean, Coach Dunn's always been a great coach, and he's always kind of kept in with everybody. He never just stuck with just the receivers. He would joke around with this offensive line and all that. And so, like, we knew him. He's been around and everything for a long time. So, as far as the transition goes, we just see him and we get to talk to him just a little bit more and everything.
Thank you.
And our final question is going to come from Chris Becker of the O'Colley. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Ryan, can you hear me?
I can.
All right, so 2020 has been rough for many reasons. Would it change your personal outlook on the year if you guys go ahead and end the season on a high note, do well, and meet your goals?
I'm sorry, you were echoing. I couldn't understand you there.
2020 has been rough for a lot of people and for many reasons. Would it change your personal outlook of the year if you guys go far and meet your goals this season and end on a high note?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that we end on a high note. That's kind of why I'm here. That's kind of why I'm doing it is, we have certain goals in place and we hope that we reach those, whatever curveballs get thrown at us, we still want to be able to hit them and be able to get all our goals.
Thank you, Rye.